Looking to hire a credit repair company, but not sure if Lexington Law is the one for you? Well, today I'm going to be breaking down that as well as the best ways to be able to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to dealing with credit repair companies. Okay, so be sure you stay tuned. Now, Lexington Law is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, credit repair company in the industry. Now, according to them, in 2020 alone, their clients saw over 7 million negative items removed from their credit reports. Now, I'm going to show you how to get the best results from credit repair companies and Lexington Law specifically. But first, let me explain the secret to how credit repair companies work and why people have mixed results. Now, guys, caveat, this is how reputable credit repair companies work. Okay. Now, what they're typically going to do is they're leveraging laws like the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, to be able to get you deletions. There's really no magic to it, y'all. They're looking at these laws, they're finding ways to pretty much get the credit bureaus or the debt collectors to make mistakes, and they're leveraging those mistakes to be able to get deletions. Okay, so it's literally that simple. It's pretty much just about getting one of those contributors to the negative accounts to slip up, whether it's the data furnisher, right, creditor, the debt collector, or it's the credit bureaus. And then once that happens, boom, the account can get deleted. Now, these slip ups can be anything, right? It can be as tiny as one date that is off, right? Because if a date's off, that could be negatively impacting your credit more than it should. And because of that, you might be able to get that account deleted because, you know, the credit bureaus are literally, the information isn't verified, 100% verified and accurate. It can even be something like the amount that's showing up incorrectly. So it's not necessarily about whether you did it or not, or whether you owe that account or not. It's more about whether it's 100% accurate and verifiable. Now, with that said, it just comes down to who is more knowledgeable about the law, right? Hence why they have the Lexington Law branding, right? They try to brand it as like they're a bunch of lawyers, you know, trying to dispute for you, right? Even though I venture to guess if you go into the office, it's just regular people sending out letters, right? You're not going to have, you know, a bunch of lawyers sitting there, or else you would be paying a lot more money. So why so many mixed reviews? You know, I've always seen comments from people from both ends, right? You get some people who say, Lexington Law has worked for me. I got 10 accounts deleted in the first 2 months and my score has shot up. And then you get the other side where people say, you know, I've been with them for 6 months. You know, my score's barely changed. And I only have 2 deletions so far, right? So here's my thoughts on why that is. Me, I think one is not properly setting expectations. I think that they're not letting people know that they have work to do on their end as well, right? One example is this: 30% of your credit score is literally your utilization or your credit card debt, okay? So if you pay down your credit cards, your score goes up. If you don't pay down your credit cards or you max out your cards, your score goes down, right? So they're not always aware of that specific situation. Another thing is, you know, not always giving a clear picture of how successful you have been at getting accounts removed. And I'm gonna give you an example here where Lexington Law can make it a bit tough, right? So success rate. Now, most companies, they don't want to tell you how successful they are, right? Which to a certain degree is understandable, right? Because every credit file is different. You know, you don't want to say, oh, I was able to delete everything off of this person's account, when it might just be the situation that they were going through, right? Or the situation that they had with their specific, you know, file. But I do firmly believe that once you have enough data or credit files, once you worked on enough files, you should be able to statistically know your probability at getting certain deletions, okay? Now, Lexington Law doesn't specifically state what their success rate is, but I found an interesting stat on their website that can give us a little bit more of an idea straight from their website, okay? Now, this data includes over 140,000 credit files, okay? And they stated this: they said 89% of clients who saw their credit improve saw an average increase of 40 points, okay? And then they said 70% of clients saw their score increase. So when you actually go and you do the math on that, just over 62% of clients that had their credit increased their score on average 40 points. Now, that probably doesn't sound as good, does it? Right? That's kind of why they try to, you know, they try to manipulate the data a little bit to make it sound more favorable to them. But, you know, I don't think a lot of people would be happy about their score just increasing 40 points. So how can you actually take advantage of credit repair companies and try to increase your chances of success? Well, one, you want to try to fix your credit yourself first, then hire a credit repair company to actually work on the hard stuff. Now, why do I say that? Because I've actually been on both ends. You know, I've ran a credit repair company before, and I've also had to help people fix their credit on their own. right? I currently run a website called thesmartcreditblueprint.com, and that's pretty much what we do is we teach people how to do it themselves, right? And what I've realized is nobody's going to work as hard on your credit as you will, right? Most companies will focus on the easy stuff first to get you some quick wins, which I honestly think, I would do the same in their shoes, right? Because you want to keep the person motivated to keep wanting to achieve the goal that they have, right? So I want to try to give you early success. That way you can see that the process works, and it's just about, continuing to push along on the process, right? So you want to show your clients quick wins and to keep them motivated once the hard stuff comes around. The problem that comes in is some companies drag their feet, right? So what they'll do is they'll work hard the first month or two, right? And then once you're committed, they're going to kind of drag their feet, the rest of the time, right? So they might spend the first 6-8 months trying to deal with the easy accounts that you could have handled yourself, right? And then it'll take them a year or 2 years longer to deal with the harder stuff if they even get it removed, right? I kind of look at it like it's like driving to the dealership to actually help you with a flat tire. You should have just dealt with it yourself, right? Now, if you've gone that route, at that point, you've probably ended up paying $1,000 or more, right? Most monthly fees are typically between $120 to $150, right? But even worse than that, the worst part is you've now lost, upwards of 8 months towards reaching whatever your financial goals are, and that you're never going to be able to get that time back, right? Forget the money for a second. That to me is the worst part, is the time. Because if you had a goal of getting into a house the next year, you now have to push that goal another year, another 2 years, or whatever the case may be. So I say that to say this: you'll be surprised how many negative accounts will actually fall off just by you sending off a few letters. So I think that we need to, quit getting mad at credit repair companies and play the game on their level, right? Why not go to a credit repair company and get the easy things removed off of your credit report, right? And then that way they are left dealing with the hard stuff. Now in that situation, you're actually being able to get exactly what your money's worth, right? And you more than likely won't need to stick with them as long, because they can just focus on, let's say, 3 difficult accounts instead of 10 to 15 negative accounts, of which most of them are easy accounts to deal with. Now, what I'll do, guys, is I'm going to link down below to some other reputable credit repair companies that I recommend. Now, I typically recommend these companies in lieu of companies like Lexington Law, because they even offer a guarantee, right? So that it works even better with my technique of, if you dispute the easy accounts and then you go to them for the more difficult accounts, they will at least give you a guarantee. So even though you might have spent that time with them, you at least get your money back that you spent, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. I'll link to those companies down below. But my thoughts are pretty much that's it, right? Set reasonable expectations for yourself. Work on your credit yourself and get all the easy negative accounts deleted. Then go to, Lexington Law or the other companies I'm gonna link to down below, and let them and their team or be able to deal with any complex negative accounts that you're gonna have on your credit, okay? So that's the gist of it, guys. Check out the rest of my credit repair playlist that I'm gonna link to down below, as well as I'll throw it up here somewhere. And guys, those are going to be videos dealing with all types of things, right? Charge-offs, collections, repos, late payments, whatever the case may be. I'm going to link to that playlist here. Also, get access to our credit letter bundle, which I'm going to link down below. We're pretty much giving out over 100 of our top letters. All you have to do is pay the price of a cup of Starbucks coffee. All right, so check that out down below as well, guys. And I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.